Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Multiverse Movie Club Halloween double feature. I'm your host, Matt, and joining me on our first spook-filled special is the always wonderful Caped Joel.
I'm so excited for this, Matt. We're doing this early, recording for the Halloween show, and I had the perfect costume plan that I didn't get to pull off. I wanted to do Peacemaker's shirt from season 2, that like real douchebaggy shirt and the leather pants. I could not Amazon order them in time, and it sucks that I couldn't do that because I really wanted to own that shirt and pants combo and write it off on my taxes.
Yeah, well, you could still order it. We'll comp it into a different video. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Through the magic of editing, anything is possible.
Anything is, yeah. So this is our big Halloween double feature. Usually when we do these shows, we just do one film, but we thought for Halloween, we would both choose a film and make it like a big show because it's our first Halloween show and hopefully the first of many. First film we've chosen is 2009's Sam Raimi directed Drag Me to Hell.
Yes, I had a really hard time picking a horror movie for this because it's like, I know what's something interesting, but something that hasn't been talked to death. What's something that, you know, we might actually have some insight into. And I'm like, oh, well, Sam Raimi, of course, he's an icon. And this movie especially takes place in a very interesting time in the man's career. He did this right after the Spider-Man trilogy, which was wildly successful, made him more of a household name outside of nerd circles. And that third one, I think, really killed his enthusiasm for a lot of things with studio notes and general fuckery to the point where he's like, no, I gotta go back to horror. I gotta go back to my roots. I gotta go back to my very particular brand of like weirdo slapstick horror.
Yeah, it's a real return to form for him because he was in the Sony mines for so long with those Spider-Man films. He didn't really get a chance to do something like this. He produced a bunch of horror films around.
Yes,
I think when
did.
he was doing the Spider-Man films, but he never directed it until this one.
No, and I know people were super excited going into this because it's like, oh, Raimi, he's back on his bullshit, man. He's back on the streets. He's the man with the horror cred. He knocked down all of these doors for so many other people to come after him. Your Lee Whannells, your Peter Jacksons, all of these other people. Hell, even, those Raka guys who technically started making horror on YouTube before now they're in here. And I don't think, the hype for this, you had to be there to really believe it, and the hype really kind of died down because I don't think people really regard this as one of his better movies. This one got a really lukewarm reception, and as time goes on, I am only more fascinated by the choices in this one.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this film in probably 15 years, probably not too long after it had actually came out. But I do remember it was one of those films back then when I was like, don't really care about it all that much. It's not too good or anything. But like you, I have since reappraised it and been like, oh, this is actually like a pretty good film.
Yeah, divisive is the word that I would use to describe it if I had to pick just one, and we will explain that this one is kind of pulled in a lot of directions, kind of has some wild tone shifts. Again, that's kind of becoming my bread and butter on this show, isn't it, Matt? Where it's like, hey, Joel picked a film with a wildly erratic tone he wanted to talk about.
It's good though. It's fun. It's fun.
Again, it is not for everyone, and again, we will have to actually, do some, kind of cultural anthropology to really dig through this one. We'll really have to examine the era, and in some cases, maybe unpack some uncomfortable stuff that aged pretty bad. Not even aged bad, it was kind of bad at the time, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, it was right at that time where it's like, I can't really do this stuff anymore in film, guys.
Yeah, like I know you're making a throwback, it's like, oh, it's a throwback to old-timey horror movies. Yeah, those things are old-timey for a reason.
Yep.
Sam, Ivan, come on, guys.
But yeah, do we want to just jump straight on into this film and kind of start to unpack it? Because it just kind of starts, just like jumps straight into it. Yeah,
we get treated to a little wraparound segment here. We're in the 60s. We see a young Hispanic couple taking their afflicted son to this big, crazy, what I guess you could call X mansion, but for paranormal activity. It's a very cool House.
Yeah, it's really strange. I had to remind myself that this is like, it is about like all these like different like mediums and stuff being together and doing this sort of stuff. And like, what, like, why do they have this like giant, this like a mansion just off like Beverly Hills, like somewhere, or, you know, in it's Pasadena, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's in that realm of like high society. It's a giant mansion for like mediums and whatnot.
Oh yeah, this is hot LA real estate right here. I can only imagine what they paid for it in the day and what it's worth now, which begs the question, do mediums make that much money that they can afford this? Has this been passed down the family line? This is a real problem with Drag Me to Hell right out of the gate. We meet characters in this movie where it's like, I would much rather be following them, to be honest. They seem like they're living a much more interesting life, and they might come at this in a much more interesting fashion. So yeah, this young boy has been afflicted, Matt. He's been cursed by a demon.
Yes, because he stole a silver necklace.
Yes, from a group of people who they use the G word to describe them right away. Of course, what they actually mean is the Romani people, who are a very diverse, very culturally relevant group of people who much too often in movies and TV shows and everything else get denigrated to weird, gross witch warlock people who do curses, which is, again, a very old-timey horror trope that Raimi is pulling upon here. Truth be told, this is actually based on a very old script. Apparently, he wrote this in the 90s, got sidetracked with Spider-Man. Edgar Wright actually almost made this, but he got sidetracked with Hot Fuzz, and then they ended up making it in 2009, and oh boy, a lot of that stuff probably would have been dated in the 90s, was already kind of controversial in 2009, and looking back at it in 2025, it's like, holy shit, you could not have made this today in the age of Twitter and think pieces and anti-defamation leagues. They would be up your ass, and you would have deserved it.
Yeah, like the only way he could have made this is if like he made it known that like, we're calling these people this and that and all doing all this stuff because that's part of the film, because we're seeing it from this woman's point of view who doesn't understand any of this sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's no deconstruction here. This is Sam Raimi, a man who is not of Romani descent, as far as I know. Like, again, this is not like Sinners or like some of this other thing where it's like, yeah, we use slurs, but that's because, we're trying to deconstruct. We're trying to, dig deeper into this understanding here. It is a trope. They are using a trope here, a pretty ugly trope, and it basically informs the entire movie.
Yeah, and again, it was kind of like a trope from his era of when he was directing like Evil Dead, and people do this like in every other film that was made at the time.
Yes, and that's another thing too, when he pulls kind of the same shtick in Evil Dead and everything, the Deadites, they're not based in any real culture, they're made up spookhouse horror stuff. Here, when you're using Romanis and you're using curses, even the demon that they invoke in this movie, the Lamia, which here they show to be some like black goat, Black Phillip thing. No, the Lamia is Greek, man. It's like a snake woman.
It's just a hodgepodge. They've just seen words. Oh, that looks cool. Oh, that looks cool. Oh, that looks cool.
Again, this one does not score any points for cultural sensitivity, which is a shame, because there is some stuff the movie does quite well, as we are going to explain. We're not just here to finger wag. We're going to say that, Drag Me to Hell is divisive and unfortunate because it does a lot of good things, but also totally flunks a lot of other tests. Also, too, right off the bat, the problem with pacing, we get this whole Pasadena wraparound story here in the first 5 minutes. This will not come back again for like an hour, and it's like, why did you feel you needed this wraparound for a scene that will also, as we'll explain later, ultimately not really matter? Yeah,
it feels like 30 minutes into the film they should have had another one where it kind of explains like some of the rules or something a little bit more.
Yeah, there's very few horror rules set up here. Basically, this lady is a famous medium. She owns this crazy house. She's tasked with trying to lift the curse from this boy, and she fails. She fails to lift the curse in time because the curse is on a classic, movie timer. You have 3 days. First you hear voices, then you get knocked around, and then finally you, as the title explains, get dragged to hell.
Yeah, and you know, props to the movie. They drag a child to hell.
Yeah, most movies won't kill a child, and they'll do it right away. And already, like 5 minutes in, where it's like, ooh, you definitely lost some people in the audience on this one by killing a kid so early on, and you're gonna lose some people later too. This movie kind of lives to piss off all sorts of people.
Yeah.
And I think you could only get away with that if you were Sam goddamn Raimi, where it's like, I made 3 Spider-Man movies, I am bulletproof, trust me on this. And everyone's like, we gotta trust him. He made Spider-Man money, we gotta trust him. And they did. So yeah, that's our prologue there, kind of giving us a taste of things to come. The movie really starts when we are introduced to our main character on this one, Christine Brown. Everyone calls her Chris, which to me is hilarious because that means her name is Chris Brown. Oh no.
Oh no.
And she will hit some women in this movie, by the way.
Yeah, she does, yes.
In case you're wondering, Chris Brown does smack some ladies around in this movie. It's like he knew Sam Raimi. It's like he knew. But yeah, so we join Chris in her life, and she is in a very interesting position right now. They do a great job actually showing, not telling, a lot of her story very early on. She's listening to a tape on her way to work, trying to lose her accent. She's clearly got a little southern twang that she's very embarrassed of because she's living in the big city now and she can't have that. She's also gets really obsessed with cakes and pastries in a window, which, you know, mad relatable to me, especially this time of year.
Yeah, because it's never really focused on in them. It's just like kind of background, but we learned that she was like some like country like bumpkin queen of some fair, but like she was quote unquote movie fat in that she's just like slightly chubby. It's funny because our second movie actually deals with that sort of stuff very early on in the film as well. But
we didn't try to do that, everyone. This ended up being like a weird double feature about women dealing with societal pressures involving eating disorders. That organically happened.
Yeah, but she's that movie fat, quote unquote, where she's a little chubby. Not even that. Not even that.
Yes, again, we see a picture of her later on in the movie, and it's like, that looks like all the girls I dated in high school. Like, what's even the problem? That's fine. And she's successful. She's the port queen of her small town. Although that is a little mean-spirited, isn't it? Oh, port queen, and she was fat. Aw. Yeah. The thing that actually brought me back to this movie, because much like you, Matt, I saw it the first time and I'm like, meh, that wasn't exactly what I wanted to be. What brought me back to this movie was actually a completely different interpretation from Cracked, of all places, back when they actually hired real writers and they actually wrote quality things worthwhile. There was an article, I can't remember who wrote it. We can probably find it later in the edit. But they basically broke down saying, you know, what Drag Me to Hell is really about is it's a horror movie about an eating disorder. And I'm like, oh yeah, because food continues to come back in this all the time, but not just food, but vomit is a major recurring theme in this movie. And it's like, well, how did she get skinny? They don't tell us how she got skinny. I'm assuming bulimia. And also, her hair keeps getting pulled out, and that's another thing with bulimia. Your hair will fall out if you keep forcing yourself to throw up too much. And I'm like, oh, was that intentional, or is that just like one of the craziest coincidences?
I would feel from like someone like Sam Raimi, that's probably like intentional. Absolutely.
Right, because there's just too much of it to be an accident. But yes, Christine, she's lost the weight. She's trying to lose her accent. She's completely reinvented herself because, you know, she wants to move up the ranks of the fancy LA bank where she works at. She's a mortgage officer during a very interesting time in American history. This was during like the economy collapse there, the subprime mortgage crisis and everything, when everyone was losing their homes and everyone was like, hey, defund Wall Street. Everyone was, you know, getting really mad at the banks and everything. So, ooh, what a spicy time and what a spicy backdrop for your horror movie.
Yeah, and along with being a loan officer, she's also trying to get a VP position, or like a higher up position, and she's fighting against a co-worker.
Stu.
Yeah, Stu, played by Reggie Lee, who's like a famous like character actor.
Yes, he's one of the bad guys in Tropic Thunder.
This is Flaming Dragon!
Okay, Flaming Dragon. Fuckface. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
Yeah, yeah.
He's really good, and oh man, does he play a great asshole in this. He is instantly
he's great.
hateable from the first scene you see him in.
Yeah, and he's such a kiss ass as well to the boss.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I've got these like tickets to the
Lakers game.
To the Lakers game. They're behind the the front row seats, and I can't go to them, but you can have them. Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, such a kiss ass.
And then he like tries to get her to bring him a sandwich back, and then he's like, I didn't ask for mayo on it, and he clearly didn't before. We've all worked with one of these guys, and they're just the worst.
Yeah, yeah.
In a movie with demons and curses and the concept of hell existing, Stu is somehow the worst person in this.
Somehow, yeah.
Somehow is actually the worst person. But yeah, she's trying really hard to get this promotion, and because this is 2009 in America, which is not too undifferent from, the corporate banking world right now, the boss is like, what would really, get you looked over for this job? If you fucked someone over real good. That's what we really like here at the bank in 2009. Just really drop the hammer on someone, show us that you're a savage killer.
Stu's someone who's not afraid to crunch the numbers and make the tough decisions.
I'm perfectly capable of making the tough decisions.
Yeah, and it just so happens that woman is Sylvia Ganush, the elderly Romani woman who comes to see her about. I think she wants an extension on her third or fourth mortgage or something.
Yes, she would have paid, but but the sickness has taken my eye. Isn't it weird and creepy? And already where it's like, okay, so here is our villain essentially for the movie, and it's like, is this just a gross stereotype? Is this just like, the worst kind of like you just picked it from a stereotype journal there, like the sneaky Asian or the criminal black man? Here we have the, curse-giving Romani woman.
Yeah, it's a little like that, but also it's tied in with what Raimi usually does in his films and makes like things gross and like really like uncomfortable. Because like when we meet her, she's like eating like the all the mints on the desk, and it's like just gross, and like she's like coughing up all this like goo and
popping her teeth out. She's got really dirty fingernails that she keeps wrapping on the table, which, hey, don't get me wrong, the makeup work, great. And if you were in this situation, it would probably be uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable already because, again, it's like, ooh, you're pulling on some really uncomfortable cultural stereotypes here when maybe you didn't. Apparently the working title for this movie originally was just called The Curse. And I'm like, you know what? You probably could have done all these same things if you didn't feel the need to tie it to the Romani people. If, Sylvia Ganush was just like a more generic European witch type, with the big pointy hat and the black hat and everything, I think people would have been more receptive.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Again, perfect example, and not to spoil too much, but hey, weapons, how they show a witch in that, like a modern day witch, that I think would have worked really well, and it does work well in that movie. Yeah. But yeah, so this is the woman here who, she begs and pleads, the trucks are at my house, please, I just need another extension. And for a second there, you think that Chris might actually help her out because she's a nice, good, kind-hearted person. She's been getting the shit kicked out of her in her life as it stands right now. Maybe she's gonna, actually like have a backbone and stand up to the people around her and do the right thing. But then she gets too greedy, flies too close to the sun, and does what, is kind of an important thing for all horror movies. She has that moment where she transgresses. You know the moment of transgression, Matt, that is in every horror movie. When you're in a Friday the 13th movie and you're a teenager having sex and doing drugs, or when you stay in Haddonfield on Halloween night, it's like, really, you brought it on yourself at that point.
Yeah, you kind of deserve it at this moment, yeah.
So yeah, this leads to a big freak out in the bank there where she, starts going, you shamed me. No one has ever shamed me before.
But now, I beg for you. I humble myself before you. I, Sylvia Ganush, beg on my mother's grave. I beg you.
And it's like, oh, well, this is going to get really bad really quickly. But her boss and everyone around her is like, yeah, good job. Yeah, you made that old lady cry and have a breakdown. We're the bank. Good job.
Yeah, we're the bank. We're evil, yeah.
The cruelty is the point and always will be. Good job. High five. But yeah, and again, to the actress's credit, Lorna Raver, I believe is her name, she does make a meal out of this material. I don't think she's Romani herself, but she's good in the role. Definitely, is more physical than you would assume an actress of her age. And hey, she passed away this year, actually, in May. Believe it or not, she was 81. So hey, we're dedicating this video essay to her. Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Why not? Again, it's a shame that this ended up maybe being the most famous thing that you were known for, a role that makes quite a few people go ooh for more than one reason.
Yeah.
But all right, so yeah, but what happens next, Matt, after the bank, after, we have essentially set this up that Chris now has an enemy for life?
Yeah, well, I think this is when we first get our first taste of like horror for the film, because Christine goes to her car, Sylvia appears and attacks her, just like straight out attacks her in the car.
Yes.
It's kind of a fun like scene.
Very well shot.
You shamed me.
Yeah, it's very well shot. It's all in this car that she's like reaching through the window. Again, as you said, there's like a lot of like pulling out of hair and stuff like that. Doesn't she like vomit up on
yes,
on her at one point? Yeah.
Yes, her teeth get knocked out and she like goes to bite her jaw, but she just kind of ends up gumming her real good. And there's spit and fluids and like it's very claustrophobic, and much like a lot of Raimi movies, he tries to push his actors to be sure they do more or less all their own stunts. So when this lady, Loman, ends up getting the shit beaten out of her, she gets the shit beaten out of her for real and will for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Raimi is famous for like throwing his actors against walls and through set. Bruce Campbell is a prime example through the Evil Dead films. He's just got the shit beat out of him.
Speaking of Raimi references and Raimi regulars, we see another Raimi regular in the parking garage, that Oldsmobile that Miss Ganush is driving. That's in all of Raimi's movies.
Yeah, every single one of his films, that's the car. That's Ash's car at the beginning, Ash's girlfriend's car.
Yep, that's what ties it all together in the Raimi cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Again, when we saw, Multiverse of Madness, I'm like, yeah, but where's the car, though? Where's the car? There's the car.
Yeah, there's the car.
Cool, I can watch the movie now that I've seen the car. But yeah, they have this really, knockdown, drag-out fight in this car that gets really brutal, and she starts using, like, office supplies and stuff as weapons, because it's dirty and gritty, but it's also kind of funny, too, because we're doing, like, Looney Tunes levels of violence.
Yeah, it's Sam Raimi violence, where it's very slapstick, and she uses like staples the woman's head, hair pulling. I think at one point she throws a brick through one of the windows as well.
Yep, and she feels like she's won Chris, and she's like, "Yeah, take that, bitch," which kind of ends up coming back later and being this recurring thing for her in the movie.
Yes, because during the fight, one of her buttons on her jacket pops off, and that's like the catalyst for all of this, as Sylvia curses the button and gives it back to Christine.
Yes, after invoking the Lamia, which is kind of like our secondary villain in the movie, because we don't really see Miss Ganush after this. What's funny is that for a second there, it's like, ooh, is this going to be like one of those horror movies where they pull back and be like, oh, the fight didn't happen, it was actually all in her mind and everything? No, it definitely did happen.
Yeah. There's probably some parking garage CCTV footage out there of this old woman diving through the windshield of a car.
Yeah, of you getting jumped by this old woman, and this is another thing that will become a major recurring factor in the movie. The LAPD suck at their goddamn jobs in this. This was an assault. This was an attempted murder. And I think the boyfriend, who is played by Justin Long, essentially just says to her, they're going to go talk to her. Really? That's it?
So it's one of those like horror movie things where it's like, oh, well, if the cops were good at their job, like half of these incidences wouldn't have actually happened.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a movie there. And yeah, we haven't talked about the boyfriend, Justin Long, yet, Clayton, who I actually enjoy quite a lot. He's a professor. He's a young professor in the psychology department. His parents are actually one of the people who were shitting on poor Chris there, because they're like, "Ew, she's a farm girl from a small town. She's not good enough for you. You need a proper partner who can help you move up in life." And one of the big second act things there is that there's a big family dinner coming up, and Chris is feeling all this pressure that she really needs to perform in this.
Yeah, we'll get to that. That's a great scene.
It is, it really is. But yeah, so they take her home and everything, and it's just like, oh, you're gonna be all right, but no, nothing is ever all right after this.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, this all happens in stages, and we're at stage 1 at the moment, where she has nightmares and sees like things out of the corner of her eyes, and just it's classic Sam Raimi like build up to like the horror.
Yes, absolutely. The house starts going nuts. There's one thing that I got to give this movie all the credit in the world for: the sound design. They do a great job making things sound scary in this.
Yeah. There's a lot of the like creaks and like dragging stuff across like floors and benches, and it's just very creepy.
Very, very Americana, very haunted house in all the best way, because you don't ever really see the Lamia. You just see it out of the corner of your eye. It's very much one of those classic, what you don't see is always scarier than what you do type deals.
Yeah, it's much more effective that way, and she goes through all of this. I think at this point she has like a fly crawl up her nose, and into her mouth, and it's just gross. Ugh.
Yes, the fly being another recurring theme, because the fly is always representative of the devil, the Lord of Lies, the Lord of Flies, and we saw it in the beginning actually, and now we're seeing it again. This is apparently a trademark of the Lamia Black Phillip goat demon thing.
Yeah, and I believe at this point, when after all of these nightmares and stuff, she goes to see the psychic professor guy, Ram Jazz.
Yes, played by a guy who probably ended up doing better in this movie than just about anyone else, because he would be in like Inception and like a lot of really good movies after this.
Inception, Tenet, he's become a Christopher Nolan like regular.
Yeah, very much different than actually Chris's actress herself, Alison Lohman, who we were just talking before we started. It's like, did she do anything more after this? She was in Gamer with Gerard Butler the very next year, and then nothing.
Yeah, and tell me what you told me about what you found out about like social media.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, because when I knew we were covering this movie, I'm like, hey, she has a Twitter page, but she hasn't acted since like 2016. What's she been up to? Oh, she married Mark Neveldine of Neveldine and Taylor. Oh, I love those Crank movies. That's fun. What else is she doing? Oh, she became an acting coach. Well, those who can't do teach, understandable. Yeah, makes sense. What's she been tweeting about a lot recently? Oh, she's selling NFTs. Oh, she's retweeting Elon Musk.
No.
I'm not saying those things make you a bad person, but they certainly make a tapestry when you put them all close together nearby.
Yeah, when you start connecting those threads, yeah.
Yeah, oh no. But yeah, so we meet the psychic, this new age, crystals, I'm feeling your energy, but I'm really just doing deep reading. And this is where we enter another interesting, but also kind of, like pitfall the movie falls into. A lot of the movie is based on psychics, based on mediums and the paranormal and everything. I don't know if Sam Raimi likes these people or not.
It's really difficult because it's like, one, he's giving them like a stage here, a lot to do, but then like he's also very much making fun of them.
Yes, and poking holes in their stories and their methods, which, like, don't get me wrong, I agree with that. There's actually a really great back and forth between, Clay the professor and this, spirit medium guy, where they talk about Freud and famous philosophers and psychologists and everything. And I'm like, can this just be the movie? Actually, could this keep going? I actually liked this back and forth, and I assumed, that's going to be Clay's thing. He's going to be the skeptic who tags along and, kind of pokes holes and gives different perspectives throughout the movie. But no, actually, they keep coming up with new and different reasons for why Justin Long needs to disappear.
It's funny you mentioned like that stuff of like him like poking holes and like, you know, that back and forth. It reminded me a lot of John Carpenter's film Prince of Darkness, which is a lot of that, where it's like a bunch of scientists investigating something that turns out to be like the devil, the literal devil, and they constantly try and figure out like, well, it can't be that because that's not scientific, like this can't be the thing. And the movie's a lot of that, and it was again really interesting.
It's also weird because it's like, you know, why would you hire Justin Long if you're not going to use Justin Long? And that's another thing we talked about before we started. Is Justin Long a horror icon now? He's certainly been in enough of them, and he's certainly been in enough good ones where you think, maybe.
I'd argue, yes, he is. At least he is now becoming one, at least, because as you say, he's been in a ton, but like just in the last couple of years, he's been in quite a fair few more than he usually is.
Yeah, he's kind of become a late in life horror icon actor, and to where even in stuff like Barbarian, where he's almost like deconstructing the roles he normally plays.
Yeah, he's even doing like some directing for like horror stuff. He directed a segment in one of the VHS movies. Shit. I think he's involved in some way he's got this new film called Coyotes coming out, and I think he's involved. He's an actor in it, but I think he's also involved behind the scenes in that one too as well.
Oh, that's really interesting, actually. I did not know that.
Yeah.
How about that? So yeah, we meet this psychic, and it looks like at first that he's doing the regular grift that they do. It's like, I've seen your energy. You've lost something. No, something has been taken from you. That's literally the same thing. Only to realize, oh no, shit, you actually have a real demon in you. Wow, I was totally scamming you before, but actually now I am invested in this as I know you are cursed for real. He has a good one too where it's like, did you blaspheme in a graveyard? That's how bad this curse is. There's like levels. Did you whistle on the Sabbath?
Yeah, I always like when these type of films have like a set of rules that you need to follow, where it's like, okay, well, I didn't do this, but I did this, which leads me into, oh, I should have done this, but I didn't do this because I didn't know I did this.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Again, he does a good job, but like I said, I don't know if we're supposed to like this character or not. Then again, that kind of goes for the whole cast in this, where, again, I want to give Raimi his credit, where it's like, no, he's playing with morality and likability, especially, and we'll get to it by how the movie ends. I think it is kind of up to audience interpretation, where it's like, well, how much did you like these people, though? Because maybe they did get what was coming to them by the end.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, we're not really meant to sympathize with you, because, like, all through this film, Christine chooses the wrong option every single time, and I think that's like the point where it's like, no, she has so many chances to like get rid of this, but does the wrong thing that you're not meant to do in a horror film.
And, like, the theme of the movie is clearly like, oh, well, she had no backbone, she had no sense of self, but through this curse, she is self-actualized. She needs to get out there and get tough and figure out what's going on and, really, advocate for herself. And she kind of does, but she kind of doesn't also.
Yeah, she kind of does, and then it's like, oh yeah, she actually kind of was a bad person to begin with.
Yeah, maybe she was, and maybe she deserved this, and maybe that's the point. Again, divisive is this movie. I can see why so many audiences didn't know what to make of it, and why, they never really went back to reevaluate.
Yeah.
All right, and then what happens, Matt?
So we've just had the first day, quote unquote, I guess you'd call it. She then goes to dinner with Clay's parents, I believe. I think this is like after she's had all of this stuff. She kind of like, it comes down and it's like, okay, we've got to have dinner again.
Well, no, she kills the cat first before they go to dinner.
I thought that was just after the dinner. Yeah, because there's Chekhov's cat, if you will, in this.
Well, she also has to go back into work the next day too, and the curse is clearly getting worse because she's not just hearing voices now. Because so far everyone thinks she's crazy. Everyone thinks that she's having post-attack psychosis, and that it's all in her head. She's a crazy woman, Matt. But no, when she gets to work, she starts freaking out. She starts hallucinating. Stu starts screwing with her, and she starts seeing Mrs. Ganush's creepy hand, and then eventually she just full-on anime nosebleeds on everybody.
Let me help you.
No, I've got it under control.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh god! Oh my god!
That's so funny because it's a comically amount of blood.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It's a Sam Raimi amount of blood, which is just like 60 gallons worth just like pours from her nose.
Oh, I laughed. It is hilarious. It is a great bit. Truly hilarious. And, I think it makes sense, why we see so much cross-pollination between comedy and horror, because doing a good joke is a lot like doing a good scare. You got to set it up and pay it off. And they set it up and they paid it off.
Yeah.
Stu also steals, the big account that Christine is working on, the thing that she thinks is going to, take her to the next level and get her this VP ship. Damn it, Stu.
Damn it.
Damn it, again, all this horrible stuff is going on. Christine doesn't need this right now.
Yeah. She ends up leaving. Then she goes and check out. Like she tries to track down Sylvia. We learn that Sylvia has died, and the family is like having this like wake, and it's just so funny because she like goes in and she gets scared, and like the body like falls on her, and this is when
slapstick.
This is when like the corpse just like vomits up all of this like green, bright green bile all over. The thing that really got me about this scene is that everyone in the room's just kind of like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, no one makes a big deal about it. Which again, I'm like, is this racist too? Because in my head it's like, oh, these Romany funerals, they sing and dance and gamble and eat. And I'm like, that's like every funeral I've ever been to, man. It's like normal for people in my part of the world, but like, oh, look how sinful and deviant they are. I'm like, they just seem like normal people having a normal ass wake. What are you trying to say here, Sam Raimi? And the fact that she gets the body thrown on her, which the granddaughter was totally playing her. I love the granddaughter, by the way. That is yet another character. I'm like, no, the movie should have been from her point of view. She should have been a third party who came into this feud between her grandmother and this mortgage lady from the bank. The movie really should have been about her, and then we never see her again.
Yeah, because like when they show her in this scene where she's like bringing Christine into the house, it's implied that she's like sort of wants revenge on Christine, or like she's aware of the curse that her grandmother put on her and is like continuing it. Yes,
and like if this was your plan for revenge, it's a pretty weak ass revenge, honestly. Just you got embarrassed in front of a room full of strangers. Haha.
Yeah.
Got you roasted. And then we never see said character again.
No.
But yeah, the idea is that she showed up hoping like, okay, this curse was clearly about me apologizing. She even said at the bank, and one day you will come and ask me for my forgiveness. But looks like you can't forgive her now because she's dead. The movie also doesn't answer the question, did she die because of the injuries she sustained in the fight with Christine, or did she die because she overtaxed her black magic powers summoning the Lamia?
I'm going to assume it's that, like, she cursed this woman so hard.
She died. Because like then the movie again becomes completely different morality wise, where it's like, yeah, but you killed her though. She was an old woman and you still beat her up.
Yeah, and she didn't, as well as in this scene, she doesn't really seem too like upset by it, by like, no, she died. Like it's just like, oh, okay, well, how am I going to get out of this now? Sort of thing.
Yeah, is Christine a good person or not? Because you figure that like if she really did want to make a difference, she would stay and be like, look, I'll do whatever it takes to undo this curse. Let me learn about your rich culture. Let me try and make myself less ignorant. But no, that actually might be a more interesting movie if we did that. Yeah. And this is again a throwback to old timey Brothers Grimm horror from back in the day. We can't deconstruct this. Again, I feel like if the movie was made now and they actually had someone of Romany descent, advising on this one, it might have been very different, and they might have been able to, deconstruct some tropes and maybe take some stuff in some new directions, and then it might have been great instead of just, pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, her life is coming apart now. She's killed a cat. She's been vomited on. What could possibly happen next?
Yeah, and then she goes and sees Clay's parents, and she tries to act like all normal. She bakes them a cake, which A, it looks like shit, but B, I bet it tastes fucking amazing.
Yes, they go into a whole thing saying that it's a harvest cake, which is made with the first goose eggs of the year, which makes for like a denser dough. And I'm like, yeah, that does actually sound pretty good.
Yeah, but of course, because, Clay's parents are like hoity-toity, we can't have this in the house.
Yes, that's not foie gras, that's not, broccolini, that's not whatever rich people eat. That's not filet mignons with stuff. I don't know what rich people eat. I assume rich people don't eat at all because they're skinny, so
Yeah.
that's the real problem with them.
Yeah, but they have dinner and they start getting along, and you think,
Yes.
this is all going really well, but then Christine has a fucking schizo attack.
Yes. Again, the visions come back. She assumed that it was safe to go to dinner because she thought, oh, I killed the cat. Clearly the curse is broken and I can get on with my life. But no, the horrors return, and worse than before now, she sees eyes in the cake and the flies return. And, only now everyone can see it, and they're all freaking the hell out, and they assume like, oh, she tried to poison us with a fly cake. What a bitch.
Yeah, what a weird country bitch, yeah.
Yeah, again, this is what they must do there, these types. This is why we must never commingle.
I do like, though, that it's kind of funny that the way that like she bonds with like his parents is like over like alcoholic parents.
Yes, alcoholic parents, which again comes up, doesn't ever really come back again in the story in meaningful way. They bond over alcoholic parents and talking shit about one of his old girlfriends.
Yeah.
Also, they have a cat, too, who seems to know that she's a cat killer, which you think that might come back again, but it doesn't. And that cat's name is Hecuba, which is the name of an old Greek queen of Troy.
Okay.
And the Lamia is supposed to be Greek, but it's not Greek here. And I'm like, was that like a leftover from like an old script or something?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Oh, we just need a name for a cat. Rich people will name it that. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, would name it after an old Greek queen. And I'm like, that's a weird bit of set dressing in a movie that doesn't have a lot of set dressing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so her life is ruined once again. The curse is still here. The curse continues to come worse now. She's maybe torpedoed her chance to make a good impression with Clay's parents.
Yeah, and not only that, I think just after it as well, she basically is told by her boss that like, she's not getting the position.
The McPherson deal was canceled last night.
What?
Yeah. Right after I informed the regional office that we had this big loan pending, I find out that they just made their deal over at First National.
Yeah, oh yes, because, the deal got scooped by First National. We don't know how they did it. I mean, it was only you two and Stu who knew, so it's pretty obvious who did it.
Yeah. If this boss used a modicum of brain power, he could probably figure out who did it.
Yeah, Mr. Jax is pretty stupid, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
And not a particularly good boss at all, if you ask me.
No, he's pretty shit. Yeah.
But again, like, no one in this movie might be good. Maybe that's actually the point, that everybody sucks.
Yeah.
Everybody sucks to a different degree.
Yeah, and this is the point where she pawns a bunch of stuff to pay for. I think she's trying to like bribe them or something.
Yeah, that was a little unclear. I don't know if I dozed off for a minute in the movie where it's like, I gotta pay for an exorcism. She just jumps to the conclusion that, well, obviously an exorcism will be expensive because these mediums won't work for free. They, they're not in the service of goodness and righteousness. They need to get paid. And again, I'm like, I don't think Sam Raimi likes these people very much, and yet he still has to use them in his movie. Yeah,
and as well as there's also that like going with like Romani's, and there's that whole like, oh, they like money, that kind of weird, kind of racist thing, and it's like, maybe don't do that.
I don't know about this, Sam. I don't know. This is where Clay comes in and gets to be the hero, and it's like, oh, I don't care what my parents think. I love you. I care about you. I don't know what's going on with you with this cursing and this haunting, and I don't really ask a lot of questions, but I've used my rich professor money to pay for this crazy medium seance exorcism project that I am not allowed to go in on.
Yeah. And just before that, when she's like gathering up all of these things to sell at the pawn shop, she gets a jump scare by the undead Mrs. Ganush, and it's a fucking great scene where she shoves her fist all the way down Christine's mouth, and then Christine drops because this is Looney Tunes world. There's just an anvil hanging, and it drops and it just like pops her eyeballs out. It's also fucking great.
It is great. It's, it's funny. This movie probably does some of the best jump scares I've ever seen. I think, we have been conditioned to think that jump scares are bad and are cheapo filmmaking. And in the hands of a lot of directors, they're easy crutch shorthands. But here, in the hands of a horror master, you can do some really good jump scares. And this movie has excellent jump scares.
This one with Mrs. Ganush, because she appears behind like a mirror. When they move the mirror out of the way, she jumps out. That one actually got me. And very, very few jump scares actually get me, because you can tell when they're about to happen. But with Sam Raimi, they can happen fucking anywhere.
Absolutely. And again, too, the big fight they have there where she jams her arm down her throat. Again, is this movie about an eating disorder? Is this movie about bulimia? Because there's a lot of throat trauma and a lot of vomit in this movie.
Yep.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
Also, again, the shit she pawned wasn't really worth a lot too. She had like a VCR. She's got like a Motorola flip phone, but she's got like an old tube TV.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of crap, really.
It really is. And I'm like, don't you work at a bank? And I'm like, well, maybe you just moved to LA, but you're living with your professor boyfriend. Maybe they don't really watch a lot of TV, these two. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, they're never. It does seem like they're never around at home, at least at the same time as well.
Yeah, she's got a laptop. Maybe she's like one of those first generations of people who like really started watching stuff on her computer.
Yeah, she's watching early YouTube, renting movies from Netflix and playing them on the computer.
Yeah, well, when they sent them to you back when every laptop had a disk drive.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be so nostalgic for the year 2009, but here I am. Actually, I am 90% sure that I did rent this movie initially at Blockbuster back in the day. I am almost certain, in fact, that I first saw Drag Me to Hell at Blockbuster. Man, now that's the real horror.
Nice.
So yeah, we get ready for the big seance. We're over an hour into the movie now, and we finally connect this with the wraparound bit. The medium she's been dealing with, kicks her up top the ladder to the queen medium, to the queen bee of mediums in the general LA area. And oh, she has history with this Lamia. The animal sacrifice didn't work because this thing is too powerful. It's like a level 40, and you use like a level 5 spell, so that's not going to work.
No, yeah, they end up going to the house from the beginning, which this woman still lives in. I'm like, how she paying for rent and all this stuff? Like this is not going to be a cheap house to maintain, Yeah.
She mentioned her husband died, so I'm assuming maybe he left some inheritance. Also, she has servants is the other thing too. She has manservants as well.
It was being a medium really that lucrative in the late 2000s?
Apparently so. Apparently it was. She also says that her husband built this place with his bare hands. Like, wait, so he was a medium and he was good at construction too? Yeah,
jeez.
and they do the classic paranormal, like, oh, this house is built on powerful ley lines that opened a rift to other realms so that we may peer in, but also so spirits may enter our realm. Like, you've heard it 100 times. This is tropes on top of tropes on top of tropes.
A particular confluence of forces which allows a doorway to be opened through which we may pass.
Pero también por los cuales ellos podrán pasar a nuestro mundo.
And through which others may pass into our world.
It is, yeah. It's just you got to have those words in the script because it's a horror film with curses. You got to sort of explain it, but not really.
And what we basically have here is a fake-out finale. You think, geez, the movie hasn't been on that long and we're already nearing the end. No, this whole thing is like a big, show-stopping, comedy action set piece. Where, it's like, we must get the spirit of the Lamia into the medium and then put the spirit into the goat. And then if we kill the goat, then surely that will end the curse there and then.
Yeah. This is Sam Raimi doing what he does best. It's him throwing the actresses around, him doing practical effects and doing weird things with the camera. I think the guy who did the cinematography for this was the guy who did the cinematography for Evil Dead 2 as well.
That makes a lot of sense. And also too, you get a bunch of actors who are free to ham it up because when the main medium lady gets possessed, Christine Brown, your soul. And her teeth get all jagged and monstery.
I desire the soul of Christine Brown. We will feast upon it as she festers on the brave.
This is one of like, I want to, it probably wasn't one of the last movies to do it, but this is one of the last movies I've seen of this era where they would do the thing was like, okay, someone's demon possessed. Okay, their face changes into like a weird, like furrowed
Monster
brow
face, yeah.
with like the big teeth. They don't do that anymore. Usually with
No.
with a possession, it's like the eyes like turn
Yes.
black or something.
Yeah,
There's
they turn all
something
black
too
and-
easy they can just do in post.
Yeah, it's a makeup effect now. It's not like a full body effect. You're right, where it's like you get like the Caecilius from like Doctor Strange 1, where they get all like dark and everything. You're right, Matt. People don't get possessed in movies like they used to no more.
Yeah, the demons are getting lazy. They're getting lazy. They're not showing up in the mall.
You know, it's this new young generation of demons on their demon TikToks and everything. They don't try as hard as they used to. They can't read the incantations, Matt. They just don't have the attention span anymore. We need a throwback to good old-fashioned, clean American possessions. And we also get a talking goat in this as well, because the Lamia is a goat demon in this. Yeah. And it's not only does the goat talk, but the goat swears, which is great.
Yeah.
No! You tricked me, you black-hearted whore!
And it's a practical effect, which is cool.
Ah, fuck you. Hilarious. And then, you know, the main showstopper in this one, the main event is when, you know, the goat moves to the manservant and he gets possessed and he's just blah, 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 blah. He's just, you know, full on, you know, Linda Blaring in The Exorcist. And they have their big medium duel showdown there where it's like, you know, devil be gone. And, you know, he starts barfing up red smoke that goes everywhere and everything. And it is very cool. We have seen exorcism scenes like this in lots of other movies, but this is genuinely cool and well put together.
Yeah, he's like drooling really heavily. He's got like what I was saying before. He's got like the demon face because he's possessed. Yeah, he's like they've just strung him up on wires over the table that's burning, and it just looks cool because it's all practical.
Yes, and this character exists just entirely to get possessed and for no other reason.
Yeah, he's literally a red shirt. In fact, I think he's wearing like a dark maroon shirt. So he's literally a red shirt.
Yep, letting you know his place in this. And so that's all done. And, you know, the main medium lady, she finally won her battle against the Lamia from all these years ago. She avenged the spirit of that boy that she met for a minute and failed to save, and it really ate her up inside for whatever reason. And again, feels like her story might have been more interesting to follow this story from her point of view, where she just meets this banker lady and, you know, she has her chance for revenge, but in doing so she stresses herself too hard and she passes away. And Chris, again, just straight up, you know, shows it to the audience. Man, crazy, her life had this symmetry, didn't it?
It did, yeah. And she also just doesn't really care either. Like,
no.
Like, oh, finally, it's out of me. Good, whatever, cool. I can go back to my life now.
And once again, too, the LAPD comes up and removes her body, and I'm like, how many questions did they ask? I would be filled with so many questions. How did this old lady in this crazy house die when you were all together? Why is there a goat here?
Yeah, why is there this weirdo guy on the table who's like half burnt and he's like just coughed up all of this blood and guts and like, what's happening here?
What kind of weirdo LA Epstein sex parties were you all having? If I was the cops, I would have many questions, but again, you know, the LAPD totally sucks in this movie. They do not do their jobs. And yeah, we get a fake out for this where she's like, oh, you know, thank God the Lamia is finally, you know, vanquished. Shame that lady had to die for me, but I guess it's good she did. Only for, you know, the medium she's been dealing with to be like, oh no, the Lamia cannot be killed. We figured that out now, actually. It's much too powerful. We were only able to vanquish it for a minute. It'll be back, though. You're totally gonna die in like a day and some change.
The Lamia cannot be banished by a medium. This is our lesson tonight. I'm sorry.
But I saw her get rid of the thing.
No, you saw her drive it from a seance. That is all. It will be back. The goat was never slaughtered.
Yeah, and they bring up Button, the cursed object, that Mrs. Ganush cursed, and how she's got to probably pass that on to someone else, and that should pass the curse on.
Which that gets me. It's like, wait. So you only figured out maybe you can give the button as a gift. Maybe that'll break the curse. You only figured this out now after she already gave you a bunch of money to do the big crazy mansion seance that got one of your friends and assumedly mentor killed? Really? You only figured that out now. Don't you think you would have done the give the button back first? This is another problem with the movie with pacing and escalation, where it's like, well, you can't top what you just did.
Yeah.
But they're going to try. They're going to try topping what they just did. And the idea is that she needs to try and give the button away, but she's very conflicted about, what is she supposed to do? This whole thing started because she made a terrible choice because, she did something that wasn't her. She had no backbone and, took the easy way out. And she's at a diner and she's breaking her diet and she's being very mean to her server too.
Yeah. She threatens to give her the button because the server's like, are you going to order anything but coffee? And she's like, if you don't,
maybe I will.
If you don't keep bringing me coffee, I'm going to give you something you won't forget. Hinting at that she's just got to give her the button.
And the server makes a lots of sense too, where she's like, yeah, well, people who just order coffee don't tip, and I live off tips. This is America in 2009. The mortgage crisis is in full effect here, lady. Can you maybe be nice to people in the service industry? Did this all not happen because of a problem in the service industry?
Yeah, and she's looking around at like people who to give it to. She sees like a family, like a guy with wife and kids. Sees like an old man on like an oxygen tank, and she's like, oh well, he's probably not got long to live. Let's give it to him.
Only to find out, oh no, he has a wife who loves him. Shit, and she brought him pie. Crap.
Yeah, damn.
Damn, I like pie. I guess I can't do that then. My bad. And then she's like, okay, well, who's a person who we can all agree is genuinely an asshole and probably deserves to die? Stu. That's who I'll do in on this one. That will be poetic justice. I'll call him up on the phone and threaten him and say that I know that he's the one who messed up the deal with First National, which again, she probably shouldn't know that, but like it was very obviously him.
Yeah, very obviously, yeah.
And the only thing that stops her from doing Stu in is that he is just so sad and so pathetic, and he starts crying, and he says, oh, if my dad finds out.
Oh God, Christy, please don't tell me. I mean, if my dad ever finds out, just tell me what you want.
Yeah, I'll be ruined. Yeah, so she doesn't end up giving it to her.
And again, to that actor's credit, he does a great job being an absolute. You need to be too pathetic to kill, and he was too pathetic to kill. Yeah. So again, with no other options left, it's like, okay, maybe I can give the curse back to her, because apparently there is a Romany custom. Again, the movie says it is. There probably isn't. They probably just fucking made this up. Where you can give gifts to the dead to curry favor with spirits, which again feels like some real, greedy stereotyping there. Yeah, they love gifts even when they're dead. Aren't they crazy?
Yeah, bury them with like money and like treasures and
Which in fairness, there are cultures where that's a thing where you do make offerings on like ofrendas or you light incense and everything. I don't know if that's a thing for them. This movie's made up a lot of shit, so I'm not willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on this. And again, too, it's like, if this was going to be a thing, shouldn't this have happened before when she went to the funeral? Shouldn't have been the whole thing trying to get into the funeral, not have to jump right to, well, time to dig up a grave, I guess.
Yeah, that's the problem, is as well as with like the flashback stuff. Like that's the problem with the film, where it all just feels like it's just out of place a little bit. Where it's like, if we just have one more scene with the flashback stuff to establish all the stuff we just saw with that medium dying and getting revenge, would have made it a bit more interesting. You put the funeral scene here, like there's a part here where she sees the obituary in the paper and like, oh, there's your in. You just found out she died. So then you go to the house and then you do that.
Just move around a couple things. And this movie goes from, all right, pretty good to, ooh, actually really good. And so we reach the big finale of our movie, which is not as big or showy as the fake finale, but it's probably my favorite constructed scene in the whole movie, where she digs up the grave and it's dark and rainy and storming, and as she gets into the grave, it starts, raining more and the hole is flooding and, there's mud everywhere, and she gets basically her own Evil Dead hero shot where she's standing there in profile as the water and mud hits her, and I'm like, okay, this is really cool, actually.
It's pretty cool. And just before she comes to the graveyard, she gets attacked by a handkerchief.
Yes, the recurring handkerchief.
I'm gonna get some.
Yeah, which is Mrs. Ganush's handkerchief. It makes her crash her car. It crawls down her throat, and she has to pull it out. Oh, it's gross. It's gross.
You see, the handkerchief is Mrs. Ganush's stand. You see.
Yeah.
That's her power. That's what they didn't want you to know. That diamond is unbreakable and handkerchiefs equally unbreakable. But yeah, so she makes a whole big song and dance of opening the grave, and she's extra gross in the grave, and there's more vomit and worms and mud, just turning up to 11 everything that we've seen so far that's made this one uncomfortable. And she starts wrestling with the body because there's so much water, and she basically tries to literally cram the button down her throat. Again, more throat stuff, man.
Yeah, more throats and more like gross, like liquid and like coming out of places, and
I can only imagine how hard it must have been to film this scene, because it all looks, I'm sure it's all practical.
Oh, I mean, it looks like, it was probably on a soundstage, but it looks like they actually like put her in like this dug grave and just like threw mud and just like filled it with muddy water and everything.
And and even after she gets it done, she's still stuck in the hole and water is coming in. It's like, oh shit, she might have come all this way and she still might drown anyway if the big cross falling on her doesn't get her. And I'm like, this looks incredibly dangerous, both for the character in the movie and also probably the actor doing it. How sad would it be where it's like, I almost died for a movie that, two nerds on the internet are going to call problematic 20 years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very cool scene, that they make her work for it, and eventually she does, and it's like, I've returned the button, and the curse must finally be lifted now. I'm finally free. I can finally get back to my life, and I can finally get back to my boyfriend Clayton, who also disappeared for a good chunk of this movie.
Yeah. He's just disappeared, and now he's just waiting at a train station.
Yeah, not a really supportive partner, is he? Again, I feel like a better version of this movie would have actually had him be more involved in it and maybe have their relationship grow off the back of this.
Yeah, but then there's also the part where it's like, is that the point? Like, he's just like the dismissive, like, is almost gaslighty boyfriend who's like he thinks he's like the perfect person sort of thing. Like, it's just really weird.
You might be right, and his big contribution is what? He has a problem and he throws money at it. Because he comes from money, and that's probably the only way he knows how to deal with things. He doesn't want to be any more hands-on. That's like, look, isn't it enough that I threw money at your problem? and here we reach the big finale, which I feel like, or not finale, the big ending, the big, Act 3 here. And I feel like this scene here, the ending of this movie, is probably as infamous as all the Romany stuff, and that is, earlier on in the movie, we found out that Clayton is a coin collector, and because Christine works at a bank, she was able to get him a very rare coin that she put inside a little envelope. The same type of envelope that she put the button in. Oh no, a button is about the same size as a coin. They got switched.
And I feel like, because at this point I had forgotten about the coin thing. I feel like they needed to put that in the film a little bit more. Like, you see him at home and he's putting it in like the display case, or you see his collection or something. You know what I mean?
It's in the first 10 minutes. You will forget about it, and maybe that's a good twist that you are supposed to forget it. But like you said, I would have liked at least one more mention of his coin collection. But oh no, she put the coin, not the button. The curse is not broken, and just when she thinks she's finally gonna have everything she wanted, just when she thinks she's come out the other end of this, no, the Lamia comes, drags her soul down to hell as the train goes speeding by, and Clay is forced to watch it and to probably know that no one is ever gonna believe him.
I guess no one saw this happening.
Yeah. And that's the movie, which again, if the kid killing didn't get you, if the cat killing didn't get you, then this real downer ending would probably get you. That's 3 strikes that would kill probably any other regular movie.
Yeah, no, I actually kind of appreciate it for going for like a terrible ending and not a happy one.
Me too. This is totally the video game, like, oh, you got the bad ending, you got to play again, make sure you make the right choices this time.
Yeah, and I guess it's also implied at the end that, like, because Clay has has the button, so I guess he now has the curse.
Does he? I know there were talks of a sequel that never ended up materializing.
That would have been kind of cool to do a sequel now.
Yeah, all these years later.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, her will was, in escrow for all this time, but we've finally done the will reading now, so yes, all of her things are bequeathed to you, including this button. And, it becomes like the videotape from The Ring. It just keeps going and going.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Drag Me to Hell. I said it before, I'll say it again. This movie is divisive. There are some things about it that are genuinely good. Sam Raimi is a super great director when it comes to horror. The scares are plentiful, well-earned, and well done. The makeup effects are great. A lot of the performances are really good in this, too. Again, physical horror performances, which you don't get a lot from. It's just all the other stuff. It's the pacing. It's the structure. You before we started, Matt, you called it a mean-spirited movie, and it kind of is, but it's like equally mean to everyone.
It's very strange. Yeah, usually in like a mean-spirited film, there's like one group of people or one particular person who gets the worst of it. In here, like literally everyone is subject to that.
And maybe that's just the headspace Raimi was in at the time. And like, yeah, I know it's based on an older script and everything, but maybe after doing Spider-Man 3, after getting jerked around by the studio and everything, he's like, yeah, I want to go back to my roots. I want to make something mean and angry and gross and out there. And he certainly did. And while, I don't think this movie is regarded as one of his better works, I know I still think about it all the time because I've never seen anything again that, is even kind of like this.
Yeah, no, I haven't either, and I'm just thinking of like Sam Raimi as well. Just after making this, like you just kind of got trapped by the studios, like kind of thing, because he made this. He then made a couple of years later that Oz Wizard of Oz film that like no one fucking remembers because it's just not good.
I remember the ending because when he's actually allowed to do the witch, he actually does start doing horror Raimi again, and I'm like, that should have been the movie. It should have been a Wizard of Oz horror comedy is what it should have been.
Yeah, and then after that he did Doctor Strange, which again is kind of like a return. It's a big budget movie, but like there's parts in there that's like, oh, this is like Sam Raimi doing his usual.
All of his hallmarks are there. The demons and everything, they're just straight up Deadites, man.
Yeah. He does have a new horror film coming out in January called Send Help, which might be pretty good.
All right, well, we'll definitely be ready for that one when it does come out. But yeah, happy Halloween, everyone. This is Drag Me to Hell. Maybe not a treat, maybe more of a trick, but it's a good trick.
It's a pretty good trick, yeah.
And the next movie we're going to be covering has a lot of tricks. It's basically 90% tricks all the way down.
So now we come to our second film of the night, our final film of the night, and this was my choice, and of course I had to make it weird and just completely gross, and so I chose the 1990 film Frankenhooker by Frank Henenlotter.
Oh yes, Henenlotter, a man who I was actually more familiar with his work than I thought I was, mainly from watching, horror movie video essays online. The dude has a wildly interesting history, a crazy body of work, and when he wasn't making, sleazy direct-to-video exploitation films, he's like a film historian and a big proponent of like preserving films actually to make sure they don't go away. What a dude! What a mensch, this guy.
Yeah, he's a lovely old man. He just loves film. He loves collecting films and preserving them, and he has some fucked up movies. He did this one. He did the Basket Case series, which I'm very familiar with as well. I really like the Basket Case series. They're fucking weird films.
They are. They're wild and yet weirdly lovable. He also did Brain Damage. In fact, you thematically, you can tie a lot of his films together. In fact, they are all actually in the same universe. He was doing like shared continuity before anyone else there. They're all about New York. They're all about addiction and obsession.
Yep, it's always what is it? Write and do what you know. And I think Frank knows all this. He knows New York. He knows about all of this stuff.
Yep. Boy, does he. And ironically, as we'll talk about here, this is a movie about prostitutes, about sex work, and yet, weirdly, it is a movie that I think is oftentimes more sympathetic with its subject matter than Drag Me to Hell was with it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Crazy, right? Because I think Henenlotter is a guy who, always did stories about sex workers and drug addicts and homeless people and, freaks and outsiders, but he had nothing but sympathy for these people because, that's the sort of person he was, and it's the sort of person he made movies for. I feel like if he was just a generation later, he probably would have been like a Sam Raimi or a Lee Whannell or someone, who broke through from making dirty, cheapo horror movies to making big budget stuff. But I also don't think he would, because I think he likes making these types of movies.
From interviews I've seen of him, he very much liked he knew what he was making, and he didn't want to make it like a big thing. He knew that there was like a market, especially because all these films did really well, not at the box office, but really well in like VHS rentals and stuff. And he knew that there's that market there. I'm just going to cater for that market.
Yes, this was the era of that. He was the ultimate, one of the real trailblazers of exploitation movies. People like sex, people like violence, people like stuff they haven't seen before, and if I can put that together and I can exploit it, then everybody's gonna have a good time.
Yeah, and this film is a pretty good time.
Yes, it is a comedy first and foremost, which I didn't really get at first going in, because Brain Damage and Basket Case, they have funny stuff in them, they have weird stuff in them, but they're more traditional, straightforward horror dramas.
Yeah, this is very much a comedy. It's in the same vein as like a lot of Troma stuff. This technically isn't a Troma film. Troma technically owns this film now, because I think they bought the original producer's catalog, which is why the version I watch has like the Troma stuff at the beginning.
That makes a lot of sense.
It feels very much like a Troma film, doesn't it?
There's a lot of Toxic Avenger in here, and I could imagine in a different place, in a different time, there might have been like a Frankenhooker series where she was like the main character and the main hero. It's also very New Jersey based as well, which is also pretty true of a lot of Troma movies.
Yeah, I am very surprised that this film never got any sequels, especially at this time where how many Basket Case sequels are there? 4 or something? Yeah, there's a fair few of them. So, how did this not get, Frankenhooker 2?
Which is wild too. It's funny, Henenlotter's also a dude too who I almost had a thing when I'm watching this. I'm like, man, this is almost like a straight John Waters piece. And then I realized when I looked into his film history, the very first movie he made was actually sold to New York theaters as a double feature with Pink Flamingos from John Waters. Only it never got to happen because they pulled his movie, because they're like, oh, well, this is just too objectionable. This is much too controversial. And as he would say in interviews later, what do you mean I made a more controversial movie than Pink Flamingos?
Yeah, what the hell?
They eat poop in that one. Seriously? I'm the bad guy. I'm the weird outside. Okay. But yes, Frankenhooker, Matt, tell us all about it.
Well, it is loose, and I'm using that word very generously. Adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein novel. Features the main character. His name is Jeffrey Franken. He's played by James Lawrence, and he's a ex-medical student turned power plant worker who dabbles in less above board medical experiments, like bringing brains to life that has eyes in it, in his kitchen of all places, in his mother's kitchen of all places.
It's literally the first scene you see too, and I'm like, wow, they do not ease you into Frankenhooker. No. They're just like, hey, we made a promise when you picked this up off the video shelf, and we are going to deliver on that promise right away.
Oh yeah, they don't shy away from all the effects in this film.
No, they do not. As you mentioned, his name is Franken, which is obviously a reference to Frankenstein. His girlfriend, the woman who will be Frankenhooker, is Elizabeth Shelley, a reference to Mary Shelley. Here's my thing: was his first name? Do you think that's a reference to Combs and the Reanimator?
Probably. Because they were big at this time as well.
Yes, because you could almost see this as a Reanimator romp, as a Jeffrey Combs-esque type of thing. You can see the DNA or the body parts in here.
Yeah, it would make a very good double feature with that film. with
It
the
would, wouldn't
Reanimator
it?
films. Yeah.
But yeah, so we meet our main character there, Jeffrey, and he's a bit of a weirdie. He's a weirdie across the board. His wife, or I guess it's his girlfriend there, is having a big birthday party bash for her father. Everyone is there, and they're all basically talking shit to her, either saying that she's eating too much or getting too fat, and they're talking shit to her about the guy who she's chosen to be with. And they never really explain what she sees in him. It's pretty obvious what he sees in her.
Nah, same old thing. Jeffrey's too strange and I'm too fat.
Yeah, and again, like I mentioned when we were talking about Drag Me to Hell, they do the whole thing where it's like, oh, she's Hollywood fat, because she is not fat at all.
No.
At all. Like, at all.
They do try and dress her up, though. They put her in a bunch of frumpy outfits to try and make her look fat, and also, too, because I think they're trying to distract us from what they will eventually end up doing at the end of the movie, so they need to hide as much of her body as possible. It's all smoke and mirrors, man.
She's like wearing a wig. Yeah, they're like got her in big puffy clothing, and yeah, she's like eating a lot, but she's not. She's like eating like 2 pretzels. It's like, oh, apparently that means she's fat. Yeah,
apparently so. She's very supportive of Jeffrey, even though no one else is. Maybe it's just to piss off the people in her life who suck so much. Maybe that's what she sees in him.
Yeah. She ends up taking Jeffrey out of his lab, which is his mother's kitchen, and to give his birthday present to her father, which is an automatic mower, which is just kind of funny because we have those things now.
Yeah, again, Frankenhooker predicted the future, man.
Like, you can kind of see where this is headed as well, where she's demonstrating this mower and how it works, and I love how like kind of nonchalant Jeffrey is about it. It's like, don't stand in front of it. It's on UHF. Don't press those buttons. And she of course presses those buttons and gets run over by the lawnmower.
You're on UHF. Don't stand in front of it.
In front of everyone she knows, in front of her parents. We talked before about how, horror movie and comedies, have, a lot of the same DNA in it. The setup to a good scare and a good joke are very much the same. And this is both. This is a scare and a joke.
Yeah.
If you're sick in the head, you'll find this hilarious, and I did.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's just really funny because it's like you can see the runway up to that, up to what's happening, and it's just great. It's so good.
So she gets massacred in this in front of everyone, and Jeffrey is just destroyed by it.
Yeah, and he immediately like there's none of that like, oh, he's sad and then he decides to do it. He just immediately, we just cut to him like he's trying to figure out a way to bring her back.
Yes, that's the opening credit montage, which is actually a very creative opening credit where he has like, the Da Vinci painting of the human body, and he's like making all these marks in there and being like, oh, what kind of electrodes, what kind of currents could I put into this? And you're like, wow, that's really stupid. Does he think that he can reanimate a body with electricity? And then it's like, but that's what the original Frankenstein was. That was literally all Dr. Frankenstein's idea was. If I just shoot enough electricity into this corpse, it'll have to come back to life.
Yeah, and there is also a bunch of like other stuff that is never really explained. It's just kind of like in the film, like he has this like purplish liquid that he keeps body parts in that seemingly keeps them like fresh and like brand new.
Yes, it's an estrogen compound, which means he can only preserve women's bodies.
Yeah. It was just a little weird.
Yeah, again, and it's also like, dude, you could sell that for big money actually for like transplants and everything. That would be massive. I think like there's slightly more women in the world than there are men. That's $1 billion idea right there, dude. You got this all wrong with the electricity.
It's one of those things as well as like, the titular like scientist has like all these great ideas, which any one of them would probably net him $1 million, but like he's got to focus on this other thing that's he's probably got to blow up in his face and end up getting him killed.
Again, much like the actual Frankenstein, in that regard, it is actually more of an accurate adaptation. Similarly to, Jeffrey is our main character, but he's also kind of the antagonist as well. Like Dr. Frankenstein, he is not a good dude, and the movie goes out of its way to remind us every so often that he is not a good dude, that he is messed up in the head, that he has a lot of messed up ideas, and this is a movie that ultimately will be about, the commodification of women, the objectification of women and everything, seeing them as meat and as parts to be bought and sold.
Yeah, he's desperate to like, and he's also desperate to have this like
perfect woman,
in his life, and he's going so far as to just build himself one. But there's a great part here where he's doing all this stuff on the page, and he turns the news on, and there's a news report, and it's like the most heinous news report ever, because they're like making fun of the situation with like puns, and then the visual is like there's this elderly cop trying to like literally count the body part pieces, and he keeps messing up, so he's got to start back again and count. It's just so funny. Like, what the fuck?
It is. It's
That's
hilarious.
a very Troma thing. That's like a Troma joke.
Yes, it totally is. It's let's make light of everything, and also, you know, let's make fun of how ridiculous the news was even then. It's funny too. Yeah. This movie came out in the 90s. That's when it was released. But everything else about this is just 80s all the way down.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This is wildly 80s, from the hair to the fashion to the slang to even the old Pepsi bottles. I got really nostalgic for the old Pepsi bottles at the barbecue.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember when they used to look like that. We meet Jeffrey's mom too. His mom is hilarious. I genuinely love the mom. It's a shame she's only in one scene.
Yeah, she never really appears again, does she?
No, I thought she was going to be the Igor, because it's like, well, obviously our Dr. Frankenstein needs someone to talk to about his plans. No, he mostly just talks to himself.
Yeah, he just, applies a drill to his brain when he needs to think of it. We'll get to that, yeah.
Yes, we will. I have so many thoughts about that. But yeah, his mom is like, have you thought going back to medical school? Have you thought maybe moving on? And it's like, lady, the girlfriend like just died. Seriously, I can maybe see why your son's messed up. Your shitty parenting.
You know, it's not right for you to spend the rest of your life in here. Elizabeth's dead. Life goes on. I mean, you've got to find yourself another girl.
That's what I'm working on, Ma.
This movie also does something I really like, where it's like he's got like this weird room filled with like literal like body parts and organs and like brains with eyes, and now everyone's just like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's classic Jeffrey.
Well, he's been kicked out of med school 3 times, so
generally, medical students don't really have bottled like hearts and eyes and limbs just lying around.
That's what I'm dying to know in the Frankenhooker prequel. What did he do to get kicked out of those med schools 3 times?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's wild. The tone they set is so wacky and so weird, but also like dark and gross. And it's like, yeah, you got to be a specific sort of person to enjoy this and have fun with this. And I am that kind of person.
Yeah. But as well as the scene with his mother, there is like kind of a sweet moment where like he realizes like, oh yeah, I am antisocial. I am like amoral and nothing. And like Elizabeth was the only one who you saw kind of through that and all that sort of stuff. And I've lost that, and I'm going further and further away from being a good person because of that.
I'm antisocial. I'm becoming dangerously amoral. I've lost the ability to distinguish between right from wrong.
Yeah, she was the best thing in my life. She's gone, so now I need to rebuild her. And it's here where we start to see the fatal flaw in his rebuilding of her. It's like, oh, I love Elizabeth. I need to be reunited with Elizabeth. It doesn't seem like you really liked her as a person. You liked her in theory. You liked the idea of her. So instead
as a status object.
Yeah, as a status symbol. So when it comes time to bring her back, he's like, well, I could bring her back as is. But, she lost so many body parts in the accident. I could make her better. I could make a better woman by cutting out a bunch of Playboy centerfolds and just sticking pictures of her face on it. And I'm like, yes, this is what the movie is actually about.
Yeah, and if you didn't think he was weird before, he has like a date with her, like chopped up head and like a disembodied foot and hand, and it's such a weird scene. He's like telling this corpse like what he's going to do.
The main guy's delivery, the actor, that's James Lawrence, I believe that's how you pronounce it.
James Lawrence, yeah.
James Lawrence there, who has a shockingly long IMDb page. The man has been working solidly forever. You've probably seen him in stuff in the background. He was like guy number 3 in the The Irishman, or he was like the driver in another big movie. So like the guy gets around, he's worked solidly, and this movie for long stretches of time is basically just his one-man show as he talks to like a very fake head.
Yeah, it's very much like theater like that, because it's just him kind of like either acting into the void or like, as you said, an inanimate object he's got to like convey emotion from and to.
And his delivery, he's got almost like a Jackie Mason style delivery. You like this one here? What about this one? A trip to the sweet shop.
It's that New Jersey accent, because this all takes place in New Jersey, in Hohokam, which is a place in New Jersey.
Yes, which is wild. And unlike the director's other movies that all start in New York, start in the city with the grime and everything, this one starts in suburbia. It's actually very shiny and clean, so it's actually very different than the director's other movies. I believe this was the most expensive movie he ever made. It was like made for $1 million or $1,200,000 or something, which again is a shoestring budget for anyone else, but he makes it work.
It's amazing. Like this was only like 33, 34 years ago, and like you think of like okay, they did all of this with like $1.5 million, and you think of like movies nowadays, it's like you couldn't do anything with that amount of money nowadays.
No, where it's like, that's not even going to pay for like one tracking shot or like one drone shot.
Yeah.
And it probably helps too that like a lot of the actors in this movie, you could tell are not actors, that these are real people.
He's just like gotten off the streets of New Jersey,
that these are just real. But that also adds to the charm of it too, and that was always true with Tron, where it's like, oh, you guys aren't actors, but you're like real weird people. Like you could not write a character like you.
Yeah.
You just have to be, again, John Waters famous for that too. All the Dreamlanders, these were just his friends that he got.
Yeah, well, and speaking of like these type of people, the whole point is like there's this storm coming, and he plans on that in like 3 days, and that's where he's going to resurrect thing. But he learns that because of the news, and the weatherman is a guy called Zachary, who is like an old school horror host.
I got the feeling.
Oh, good evening. I'm Zachary here, and I'm busy finishing my opera that I promised I would write for Gaspard. He teased me until she...
Yeah, that actor, that guy is an old school horror host, like in the vein of like Joe Bob Briggs and Sven Gulli and all that sort of stuff. He's like one of the originals, and they just cool. Like got him in for a part, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's the weird looking guy. Yeah, just put him in the film.
Something that only fans would get and truly appreciate it. And also, I love they don't even try with with the weatherman set. It's like a piece of Bristol board.
Oh yeah, that was probably at his home somewhere.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Again, this movie was made for $1 million. It was made for a shoestring budget. It was also shot on film, and even on like the new DVD Blu-rays that Matt and I were watching this movie on, you can still see some of the excess leftover film stuff that they couldn't clean up.
Yeah, the little where the reels change and everything. Yeah, it's great.
And like some people would be like, oh, that's horrible, they should change that. No, that's charming. It's charming.
Yeah, it adds to the feel of the film.
Yeah, you feel like you're watching a creature feature. You feel like you're watching like a drive-in movie picture show.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But so then what happens? He makes this plan. I need to resurrect Elizabeth, but so much of her body is destroyed. I need parts. How am I going to get these parts?
2 days. I gotta find her fresh parts in 2 days. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I just gotta relax.
Yeah, and this is where he starts coming up with the idea. This is where he uses the drill. He uses when he's stressed or like can't think, he begins boring a hole into his head in order to like basically kind of give himself like a lobotomy. There is like a technical term to it. I can't remember what that technical term is.
Yes, yes, my mom's a nurse. A cranial something, or for when you have
trepanations or something.
Yes, when you have too much pressure on your brain, they need to alleviate the pressure, so they like bore little holes in your skull. Again, hey, Saw 3 famously had a scene where that's exactly what they did. And the drilling begs a million questions where it's like, was he always doing that? Is that why he's weird? Did he just start doing that now? And if so, how did he get the idea?
The funniest thing about it is that he drills these holes in his head, and the drill bits he uses are quite long. So and it's like, and that's never brought up like, oh, he has this like open hole in the back of his head now.
Not a drop of blood.
Yeah, nothing, no blood, no brain fluid, nothing, none of that. But like, he uses it to stimulate his brain to try and come up with an idea, and he thinks about like becoming, someone at the airport to like get stewardesses and just like all these. It's just random fucking plans.
Some stewardesses. Take the Van Wyck Expressway out to Kennedy Airport. I'll walk onto the plane. I got a maintenance uniform on. Girls, there's a screw loose in a luggage door. You gotta follow me and get off the plane.
And again, I feel like none of that was in the script. I feel like he had to improv a lot of this. Like in the beginning when he's drawing up his little diagram, he's like, oh, the connector's there, and the electrical current, and E equals MC squared.
Yeah, and eventually he comes to the idea, well, what about hookers? No one misses them. Why don't we do that? And he has a really funny line here. He's like, oh, well, that's going to cost money. Well, luckily I have my Christmas Club account.
Do people even have Christmas Club accounts anymore? Is that just like completely forgotten? Is that just like an old dated reference?
I think so. I know what it is because I had one when I was a child, but I don't have one anymore.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, my Players Club card or something.
Yeah.
And I believe this whole scam only cost him about $800, which I feel like, we should adjust for inflation. What would that be in modern money?
Yeah, a couple of $1,000s. Yeah, even then it was probably like, oh, that's very, very cheap.
Yeah, on the screen right now, Matt will be sure to tell us what that actually is adjusted for inflation. This absolutely insane plan that requires him, to buy, to travel to New York, to travel over the bridge from the Garden State to the Empire State to try and purchase Women of the Night, which is not hard to do because this is, pre 9/11, pre Giuliani New York.
Yeah, so the streets are just filled with them, and all these shots here of like New York and the streets, they were all gotten without permits. I saw an interview where Frank Henenlotter said they had a van with the camera inside the van, and they'd open the door and just drive along to get those driving shots.
Save a lot of money.
They could only do it 2 times because by the time they would come back around, all the hookers would have dispersed because they thought they were cops. They thought they were cops.
Naturally. I also heard a nice story, too, that some of the other, actual real prostitutes who were working in the background, who ended up becoming part of the movie, who ended up becoming part of the amazing set design for this movie. They apparently actually all got SAG cards later. Where it's like, yeah, you're part of the Screen Actors Guilds now.
Hell yeah. They get that free healthcare that comes with it and everything. Got to keep being in films, though. Got to keep being in films.
Again, pretty nice of him, man. And again, more sympathetic than Drag Me to Hell in their, view of the Romani people. This movie is actually kind of sympathetic to people in that sort of situation, survival sex workers in general, because they even basically comes up later where it's like, yeah, they're not out here because they want to be, man. They're out here because a lot of them are hooked on drugs and have nowhere else to go.
Yes, that'll come a big part of this film a little later on.
Oh, will it? So yeah, we get our first scene there where he tries to solicit, where he commits a crime.
I'm not used to seeing that.
You're a Jersey boy, ain't you?
Yeah, Jersey. I'm right over the bridge, to the left.
Well, you just take a couple deep breaths and relax. Tell me what you want.
And he has no idea what he's doing, so he just like shows them the money, and it's this massive stack of money, and they immediately like, okay, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. We can kind of take advantage of him.
Yeah.
So he wants to get like a bunch of people. He says it's for a friend who's dying or something.
Keeps changing his story.
Yeah, and the main hooker here takes him to the Huevos Grande Bar and Grill, which is probably the nicest bar in this part of town.
Yeah, right. Again, where it's like, man, this director, he has such an eye for grime and sleaze. How did he make that happen, Matt? How was he able to truly capture this? Because he filmed it in a real place. That's why it actually looked like that.
Yeah, this is just like a real bar.
This is what New York looked like in the late 80s, early 90s. And man, I am kind of nostalgic for this era I have never been, right?
I know, right? Yeah, it had so much character.
Like when I did go to New York, I'm like, oh, it's all clean, and I mostly stayed in Times Square and everything. I'm like, where's the fun? Where's the danger,
Yeah, it doesn't need 42nd Street and all the porno theaters and all the theaters that would show films like this didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, right, where they would show kung fu movies, blaxploitation movies, and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Again, it's all a beautiful symbiote circle that all of these things make. They all affect each other, and also where all of Henenlotter's movies would kind of be made up of, because again, Basket Case was also in a dirty roach motel, had sex workers as starring characters. Brain Damage, same deal. They're all the same, man. They're all connected, and it's in the bar we meet a succession of of truly wonderful characters that I definitely wanted to know more about. Spike the bartender. What is her story? What is a day in the life of Spike?
I imagine it includes turfing out a lot of people who are just like falling asleep at the bar. There's a great part later on where she's like arm wrestling like a bodybuilder, and she wins because of course she does.
Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna let one of you guys win. I'm so glad she came back. I'm like, man, if any character deserved a spinoff, it's probably Spike. But not my favorite character though. My favorite character we meet after, the king of the New York pimp scene, the one who is running all these girls, the man known only as Zorro.
This limey dirtbag system. He tells me that if I come uptown and I find a shit from you, he told me he's not gonna tell me nothing anymore. He says, I'll come here, don't do business with me.
Zorro, this giant bodybuilder, who was literally a bodybuilder that Frank Henenlotter found, and when he looks cool, let's put him in a...
Yeah, again, effortlessly cool because that's just who he is. And it's like, man... my favorite, there's so many things I love about this scene. It's so hard to get. The fact that he is holding court. His office is in the bathroom of the Huevos Grande bar. He doesn't have a desk. He doesn't have a seat. He's just standing there holding court with all these people. It's covered in graffiti. People are having sex in the stall off to the side there. Some like bearded bald street preacher is like talking about Satan and like quoting the Bible to get some crack?
Yeah. Just basically trying to convince him to give him a bag of crack,
Yeah, to give him some crack, which, was huge at the time, because, it was the 90s. They even say, hey, get me a stem, so even the vernacular is correct. And there's all this graffiti that you can see, in loving detail now because of the nice Blu-ray transfer. And you can see that all the girls are branded with tattoos. It's fucking marker. They have little marker Z's on them.
Yeah, because Zorro wears like a big amulet with a Z on it. So it's just to mark that they are his girls that he is pimping. Yeah.
Yes, it's the source of his power, don't you know? And here's another thing about Zorro. Terrible actor. This guy sucks, but he sucks in such an awesome way where every time he speaks, I'm like, no, do it again. These are Zorro's bitches. I'm like, yes, they are. They sure are.
Yeah, well, he sucks because he's not an actor. He's just a guy. And and that's what's really good about him is he's just a guy.
My girls are the best to look at, the best for fun. A few minutes to make me any dozens of dollars.
There is an authenticity to, and when he gets mad, and it's like, okay, so for this scene you gotta get mad.
Yeah.
He's also like the late 80s, early 90s idea of like, yeah, this is like what a cool macho guy would look like. He's got a mustache and like Zuba pants and an aqua tank top. And I'm like, yeah, that's what a cool macho ladies man looked like back in that era. Unlike now, where if you saw a dude who looked like that, you'd be like, oh, so are you and your husband opening that bed and breakfast soon? It's amazing how things change, right?
Yeah.
And it's in this scene that Jeffrey realizes, like, oh, money is good, but if I really want to be able to control these girls, if I really want an in with them, what I really need to do is get the drugs, because clearly it is through the drugs that Zorro controls this little tiny empire.
Yeah. He sees that they are all hooked on the drug, and then he goes home. He watches a show called Motormouth, which is a send-up of the. Do you know who Morton Downey Jr. is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's basically a send-up of his show. It was basically like early Jerry Springer,
like Pat Donahue and shit.
Yeah. It's basically a send-up of that, where he's talking to a sex worker about like wanting to like legalize it and like make it a bit more safer, and he doesn't agree with that because he sees them as fucking animals.
And you honestly believe that legalizing prostitution is going to somehow magically make all of these problems disappear?
Well, it's a start.
Oh, and what's next? Let the government issue them condoms? Let the taxpayers pay for the hotels?
Classic Republican taxpayer money helping people. What?
I clipped this and put this on Twitter. This part.
It's beautiful.
Where Jeffrey realizes like she's the woman on the news is right. The crack is killing them, and my super crack will do it that much quicker.
She's right. This crack shit's killing them. This super crack will get the job done a lot quicker.
Super crack. I wasn't sure how I felt about this movie, Matt. I didn't know how in I was, but this scene wins me over for several reasons. One, super crack is fucking hilarious. It's one of the funniest guys. His reaction, the way he's watching it, but super crack.
Yeah, because his whole idea is he's going to get these girls hooked on the super crack, it's going to kill them, and then he's going to have body parts to make his Frankenhooker.
Yes, and that is incredibly insane, darkly funny, but also buried in here is some very interesting social commentary where, again, Henlotter cared enough to actually show, the sex worker point of view on this and be like, look, the only way you stop this is if you legalize it, if you make it safer, so hopefully they can get off drugs, they can get away from the pimps, and, hopefully start their lives over where they don't have to be survival sex workers. And this kind of came to pass. In Canada, at least, it is decriminalized now here, and, with OnlyFans, they have other options now where, they can, still be in sex work and still make the money they need to survive, but, not have to go out with potentially dangerous Johns and everything. So again, the future that Frankenhooker is talking about and that this, clear conservative stand-in is railing against happened anyway.
Yeah, it did.
But yeah, so super crack is how Jeffrey is going to get his way. And it's another kind of like brilliant take where it's like, oh, so Jeffrey and Zorro are actually two sides of the same coin. They both see women as disposable, as objects to be bought and sold. It's only their tactics that are different. For Jeffrey, it's like, oh, well, I'm motivated by love. I loved Elizabeth so much, I'll do anything. Or, well, I loved her, in a way, I loved bits of her. So, I'm going to use that as my justification, where arguably Zorro is more honest in what he's doing. It's like, well, yeah, I'm a pimp. I'm not a good person. I'm not going to try and lie about this or couch it in anything. I just find that very interesting that our quote-unquote hero and quote-unquote villain are ultimately so very similar.
Yeah, he has that part in the scene where he does the drill again in his head to try and convince him that he's not doing wrong, where he's like, oh, well, I'm not killing anyone. The crack is killing them.
Yeah, right? They're just going to die anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I'm committing murder. I'm not killing anybody. The crack is what's going to kill them. Hell, it's killing them already.
And the fact that a movie even this early in the 90s would even talk about the crack epidemic is wild, and that's what Henlotter said. This is why I like making exploitation films, because you can do sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and no studio can tell you not to.
Yeah, so he finally gets along with his plan, because he made a deal with Zorro where he gets a bunch of girls into a hotel, and they think he wants to play doctor, but he is, but he's not playing it in the way that they think it is. He's basically just like taking their measurements, checking which one is the best, basically.
Hey girls, listen up. This here's Jersey Boy, Dr. Jersey Boy, but you can call him Jeffrey.
Which, even though this is the part of the movie that has the most nudity, I love that they kind of subvert the expectation here, where it's like, yeah, there's tons of topless women here, but this is not sexy at all. This is dry and clinical and medical, and that's the joke.
Yeah.
There's a great bit they pay off later where he puts a check mark on one of the ladies' asses, and then the check mark will actually come back later.
Yeah. I'm sure the actor had a very fun time in this scene.
It looks like they did. I actually looked in. I'm like, well, what's the story of these ladies here? Apparently they all worked at Billy's Topless Bar, and they all came in and they all made like a couple $100 to hang out for the day and have fun, and they're all a lot of fun, and they all have great personality, and they all get moments to have their little character bit. Again, they're not just treating them as disposable.
They all have like these great character moments that then are put on by the Frankenhooker, because she's made up of the parts of these women.
Yes.
So she gets to kind of like do their bits again.
Wild, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they get laughs, they get everything there, and the clock is counting down, because that's always the thing with this. You only got so much time. You can do whatever you want, but only in 30 minutes. But of course, this is all part of his plan, because he wants them to get upset enough to go through his bag and find the super crack.
Yeah, and they do. It's so funny. The minute they find the super crack, they just turn into like they're rabid animals. Oh my god, super crack! They're just jumping around and everything. It's so funny.
Whoa! Holy shit! What's this? Holy shit! It's jumps! It's so many jumps! Holy shit! Look at jumps!
Yeah, they take their shirts off again, which I thought was funny because, like, I mean, obviously when you smoke crack, you gotta take your shirt off. I mean, you're gonna get hot is the thing, you know. I mean, I've watched Cops. Obviously, that's how it happens. Quick, hold him down. And Jeffrey, this is probably the funniest thing he does in the movie, where he fights against them. No, not my crack. Don't smoke my super crack. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, you know, there's programs for you girls to get into. Just totally Jackie Macing out, and then like two start kissing in the corner. Oh, that's unnatural.
Yeah, they all while this is happening, Zorro is downstairs because, you know, he's a man of, you know, he's punctual, you know, he's going overtime, and he decides to come up and see what's happening. And at that moment, they're all smoking the crack and, you know, having a good time. And the crack just doesn't kill them; it makes them explode.
Fiery explosions too, not just like, oh, they combust, you know, in a medical way. No, they blow up and they become like mannequins, and it is such a hilariously fake effect. You can only laugh at it.
It's really funny, and he walks in the door and he gets hit in the face by one of their heads and gets knocked out. It's so funny.
This was apparently the most expensive scene in the movie. They apparently blew their whole special effects budget on this moment.
I mean, yeah, they're just blowing up effects. Yeah.
It's all on screen, isn't it? It's all you can see that money well spent on screen.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. But so they all blow up, and then once again it becomes the Jeffrey one-man show where he's got to start collecting parts, and he's making commentary, and he's doing shtick.
Yeah, he collects a big garbage bag full of human body parts, and he goes down the fire escape with them because you can't be seen with all these dead hookers.
Yeah, no, not even in New York at this time. You know, they'll give you.
But it's really funny. He does all of that, and then you see him. Like, he puts it all in his car and drives home, and he drives home with like an open boot, and it's just like legs and arms and stuff sticking out. And he's like, he would have had to gone down like, you know, New Jersey turnpikes and all that stuff. It's so funny.
Nothing to see here. Just a white guy going back to suburbia. Nothing to see here. It's all completely normal for this time, you know. But yeah, it's wild. It's crazy, and it continues to be wild and crazy after that, because it's like, how do you top that?
Yeah, he starts putting it all the pieces together. He's got like the plate of boobs, the plate of arms, the plate of legs.
Yeah, when we get to the plate of boobs, I just laughed. I'm like, this is I cannot believe someone wrote this, filmed it, and then edited and put it into a film. And it's like, at this point, if there's any like thought left in your mind, this is camp, this is silly, this is a cartoon.
Yeah, it's not meant to be taken seriously, but yeah, it's really fun. I also love that, like, he's building this body, and like, you think like, oh, Frankenstein, he's going to be like sewing the body parts together. No, he's like slapping like some like liquid metal on it and just like welding them together. Yeah, it's fine.
I can see why they kicked this guy out of medical school, honestly. He's not particularly great at his job, and of course, because it's a Frankenstein pastiche, we need to have the whole, you know, struck by lightning, it's alive moment.
Yeah, he does that when he raises like the mast thing that goes up into the sky and brings the woman back to life.
And he does, and so Frankenhooker is born, and it's a pretty cool design.
Elizabeth.
Want a date? Going out? Looking for some action?
It is, yeah. It's very simple design, but yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, I'm shocked this didn't become like a Toxic Avenger thing. I'm shocked this didn't sell like a bunch of merch and everything.
Yeah.
It's probably because she comes so late in the story. It's called Frankenhooker, but she doesn't show up until like an hour in.
Yes, basically, yeah. She's like the last like hour, last like 40 minutes of the film she's in.
Which is a shame, because eventually she does get her classic Frankenstein rampage, but it's like, I would have liked a little bit more of that.
Yeah, there should have been a little bit more. That's why I think it's like, why was there no sequel?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you build on this. There's so much you could build on.
Yeah, but it's very funny. She's got these massive platform shoes on, and this is where the actress Patty Mullen really gets to shine, because she does all these amazing facial like gurning acting, and she's repeating lines that the hookers we heard before say, because that's all she can say.
Yes, and she gets the cadence perfectly. I'm shocked this is like the only thing she was in?
She was in one other film called Doom Asylum, and then that was it. And I think she's done like she does like horror convention appearances and stuff like that, but yeah, she's not really an actress anymore.
That's a shame, because she is so good in this. She is so funny. She has personality. I could totally see her have been like a Jennifer Tilly type or something.
Yeah. I think before all this, she was like a model, like a playmate model or something. She one of those people that transitioned into horror films from that sort of stuff.
But yeah, she's very good, very funny, has great personality, and no Frankenstein movie is complete without the rampage. You know, she comes into this world not knowing who she is, only having the old memories of the people whose body parts were sewn into her to go on, and so she escapes the lab and returns to New York to run amok.
Yeah, she gets on on the subway, which I feel was like a mixture of like, oh, this is like actual actors and real people, because I'm like, how did they film that?
Yeah, again, it's easier to film when you don't ask and when you don't file for permits and when you just do it. And she gets all in the face of like a young boy with a Led Zeppelin shirt, and I'm like, man, that shirt probably would have been worth money now, because that probably would have been like an original Led Zeppelin concert shirt.
Yeah, she accosts a bunch of Japanese tourists, Japanese businessmen tourists.
Ah, yes, who are in front of the Fujifilm billboard, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah, there's also kind of like a fourth wall break there as well, where it looks like she's talking to you, but she's talking to like this little bald guy.
Yes, who is also great, by the way. We don't get this guy's name, but he is just perfect, archetypical John.
Oh, yes, God, yes, take me, yes.
Yeah, he's just the John, yeah.
You get the feeling, too, Henenlotter, when he wrote this, based it on, like, all the people you would see in New York. Japanese tourists, Swiss tourists, weird little guys who clearly are coming to the city with, ulterior motives and everything, and these are just the people you run into.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I imagine, like, all of these characters that get, like, a moment on screen, like this guy, are, like, people he knew or, like, people he had interacted with.
Yeah, so she's out there looking for money to buy drugs, and apparently she is now electrical. She now has electric powers. That's part of her superhero origin.
I mean, kind of makes sense. She got struck by lightning. That lightning had to go somewhere, and I guess it's keeping her alive, and she can expel it.
Yeah,
in interesting ways.
Again, see, this is why we needed a sequel. This is why this needed to be a series, so you could build on Frankenhooker's powers.
Just thinking of like sequels, like you could do like a reverse of Frankenstein, where like you have the Bride of Frankenhooker, where because like the ending also has sequel bait in it too.
Oh, it really does.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but you could have done like a Bride of Frankenhooker.
Or Groom of Frankenhooker, whichever one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's going on a rampage now. Jeffrey's like rushing to the city, trying to find her, trying to track her down. And he's like, oh, she wouldn't possibly go back there. Well, why not?
Yeah, that's all she knows. That's her programming.
Yeah, Jeffrey's not all that smart, and it's great because he finds other hookers and another pimp and starts asking the questions. I love this other pimp, too. He's no Zorro, but he's pretty good because he gets in Jeffrey's face and really starts assailing his character, and he keeps saying a thing that I feel either wasn't in the script or he read it wrong, but his read is so good. It's like, you're doing the right thing, gotta do the right thing.
You know what it feels like? It feels like that wasn't actually an act. I mean, it was. Yeah. It clearly was, because he's in like a costume, but it feels like it's just like a random guy came up to them when they were filming, and they're just like, keep rolling, this is a crazy guy.
You want to be in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to do the right thing, go do the right thing, and I'm like, that just lives with me. That's better than anything anyone could write, and the fact that that's not an actor doing the delivery, that's the best delivery. It's just perfect. Just no notes, Frankenhooker.
Yeah. So Frankenhooker ends up blowing up the John that she's, because of the electrical powers, just like blows him up. It's kind of like the super crack, but it's electrical, and yeah, she goes looking for more people, more money and more people, and yeah, she ends up walking back to some
random guy accosts her first on the way out, and she ends up killing a guy who definitely had it coming, and I'm like, see, that's your toxic Avenger moment. That's your becoming a hero to the downtrodden. This guy probably did this to other girls, but now you, Frankenhooker, are striking back. See, she's a feminist icon.
I do like how she like kills that guy, because she kisses him, and then it just cuts to like a window and his head being tossed through it.
That's why you always got to pay your freelancers, Matt. That's the real moral of this story. No
Yeah.
pay, no play.
Yep.
But yeah, so she heads back to the bar, and it's all getting ready there for a big showdown. Like, oh shit, what's gonna happen now when Zorro finds her? And oh, Zorro's life is falling apart. Zorro has lost all of his ladies, and you know, a big strong man can cry, Matt.
No. They didn't leave. They didn't go nowhere. They just blew up.
Blew up?
Fucking exploded. 1 minute they're my bitches, the next the pieces all over.
Yeah, he's very sad in this bar. He notices the Frankenhooker has like the symbol on her arm, as well as like the things she is saying is like what his girls would be saying.
Yeah, see, that was foreshadowing. We set that up.
Yeah. So he's like, what the fuck is this? And yeah, Frankenhooker kills like another skeevy guy in this bar.
Very skeevy guy.
Yeah.
He's maybe 90 pounds, and the rest is just all sleaze. It's great too, where we're building on a theme here. Hey, you may be the Frankenhooker, you may be made of parts of dead bodies, but I owned those women in life, and now I will own you too in death. And I'm like, wow, shit, there's actually something here, huh? Again, we're building on this theme of, women's bodies as a commodity.
Frankenhooker, of course, does not want to go with him, so Zorro does what Zorro is probably his first instinct, and that is to like punch a woman in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he punches Frankenhooker in the face, her head comes off and just like hanging off her body. It's really fucking cool.
And shoots electricity everywhere because she is so supercharged.
Yeah.
That she almost kills everyone in the bar just with pure electricity. It's friggin' wild, and a good effect too, honestly.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad at all. And then it's here we finally enter the third act. We finally enter the home stretch, and a lot of stuff all starts happening at once.
Yeah, Jeffrey ends up finding her and taking her back to his lab, where he rebolts on her neck, and she gets the classic Frankenstein bolts in the side of her neck.
Mm-hmm. And somehow through this process, she also ends up coming back to herself. They don't explain why; it just does.
And it was a factory reset, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you gotta hold it down for 3 seconds, and you gotta wait for the doodle-loop, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? What happened to Mom and Dad and the party?
You don't remember?
And once she's restarted in safe mode, she's finally Elizabeth again and remembers everything. And while at first she is happy to be alive, she does not stay happy once she realizes what's going on here.
Yeah, she realizes that like none of her body parts match, and like she is not herself.
Yeah, and also, hey, what a fucking psycho you are. Why didn't you let me rest in peace, you dick? And also, technically, I'm dead because of one of your inventions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may be the main character here, but you are also kind of an antagonist as well. And I'm glad the movie takes him to task.
Yeah. Zorro ends up following him back home and fucking cuts Jeffrey's head off.
And we're gonna spend the rest of our lives together, me and you.
Yes, he does. Wow, holy shit. That is amazing. And also, apparently, all the special effects we see here were actually done by, like, a non-licensed, non-bonded company, because Henlotter had spent all his money on the exploding and the super crack, and all the people that he worked with here, like, yeah, it's probably safe, these special effects, probably.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe, we'll see. Use it in the scene.
Yeah, it's just all made from asbestos, uranium, yeah, fiberglass, all the stuff you shouldn't be using to make props.
Yeah, so Frankenhooker is horrified that Jeffrey is dead, and it's here that they pay off another thing, which I'm like, okay, this is how you can tell this guy is actually a good writer, even though that he, is writing schlock, is, writing B movies and the sort of things that people would throw away. Earlier on, we saw the electricity not only brought Frankenhooker to life, but it also reanimated the leftover dead parts that Jeffrey had been saving in his weird purple drank estrogen mix, and they too come to life, and they remember Zorro, and they remember being wronged, and we get a truly horrifying, easily the scariest part of the movie, where these goddamn Henson creatures all morph together into sickening homunculuses, drag their way out, and drag him back into the freezer.
Yeah, drag him back into the freezer and grab the crack on the way in.
Oh shit, get the fuck away from me!
Anybody got a stem?
Well, yeah.
They're gonna have a little bit of a party of their own.
Well, I mean, that you worked hard. This is your reward.
Yeah, I like to also think the Zorro guy, because like he's like a big dumb meathead, but like the actual actor like thought this was all real.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. It is probably his best acting, but then again, it looks like they are actually just jamming him in a freezer, and I'd probably be scared too.
Yeah, they're just like pulling him into a chest freezer. Yeah,
especially because I now know that this was like some third-rate special effects company who didn't know if this was safe or not.
Yeah, don't get any of that purple stuff on bare skin. Oh, yeah. Okay.
it will make you impotent. Sorry, we did figure that out. It will make you impotent. And again, the movie ends up coming full circle in a way that I was really not expecting, where Jeffrey wakes up to see that Elizabeth the Frankenhooker has decided to try and save his life without asking. And now, after a whole movie of commodifying women, of disrespecting women, and genuinely treating them like objects, hey, I've sewed your head on the rest of these body parts. Hope you don't mind.
Yeah, oh no, all these body parts are women's body parts.
Where's my Johnson?
Obviously, since your serum only works on female body parts, I couldn't reuse your old body or even Zorro's, so naturally I had to make some changes.
Which, yeah, pretty good ending, I would say, where I'm like, yeah, you know what? Everyone who had something coming to them got what was coming to them in the end.
Yeah, and again, as I said before, this is sequel bait too.
Right?
Yeah, it's like there's a sequel that, yeah, the groom of Frankenhooker, where there's like some weird thing where he's got to adjust to like his body, and he like learns something about the women or something. You know?
He has to learn something about women's lib and walking in someone else's shoes and everything. Yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they try and crusade for sex workers' rights or something together. They meet up with Casey from the Basket Case movies. And that's the movie there, and then, you know, they have to fight, like, I don't know, like some sort of religious group or something.
Yeah.
See, it kind of writes itself.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thoroughly ended up enjoying this way more than I thought I did, because when you pitch something like Frankenhooker, I'm like, is this gonna suck? Am I gonna have a bad time with this? No, I had a lot of fun with this one. This is the perfect kind of cheesy, sleazy B-movie that Halloween is all about.
That's the thing, yeah. You think of a movie called Frankenhooker and you're like, yeah, fucking trash, you know, early 90s trash, yeah, but it's actually pretty decent.
And I mean, it is trash, but it knows it's trash. Yeah. It's the best kind of trash.
It doesn't pretend to be something it's not, yeah.
No, and in a weird way, as I said, comparing it to Drag Me to Hell is oftentimes more respectful of its subject matter than you would think, you know, a B movie from this time period would be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, if you love grime, if you love New York in this area, if you love cheapo monster house scares and just, you know, general good vibes, I think you'll like.
Yeah, it's a really fun little film. As I said, maybe it'll be like a good like double feature with like a Reanimator and then this.
So happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah, happy Halloween. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If people really like the double feature, we probably won't make it a mainstay thing, but like every now and then we'll probably do like a double feature every now and then. We'll probably make this like a double feature on Halloween, I think, though.
Yeah.
So like next Halloween we'll probably do one as well.
Yeah, maybe we'll find some movies that match up in ways you might not expect.
Yeah, tell us in the comments what you thought about these two films, if you've seen both of these films. I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen both of these films.
Hell, just comment if you watched it, because we like to know that people are watching these and people care. And I think this show is starting to get like an audience in and of its own that's, you know, independent from, you know, the regular Comic Multiverse and our other stuff. I think people are checking it out.
Yeah, I think if we make it a bit more of a regular thing every month, then yeah. Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, until next month, when I don't know what we'll be doing in the month of November, but be a surprise to all of us.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Yeah. See ya, everybody.
Bye-bye.